Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. I do hope you're having a good day. Yes, this is podcast number 22 with one of my best friends, Dean Phillips, who is a photographer, writer, and filmmaker. We talked about a number of different things about his travels around the world. Also, we had conversations about how he became a filmmaker up to date, as well as touching on a couple of films. So please enjoy the podcast. If you have time, please check out some of his links. Yeah, he'll be able to send you give you tips, advice about how he got to become a filmmaker and photographer. And yes, feel free to subscribe to the podcast. I'd like to say thank you very much for your time. And yeah, please enjoy the show. Thank you very much. And yeah, let's do this. Peace. Haha. Good. Thank you. We are now recording. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors. Wherever you are in the world, I do hope you're having a good day. Today on the podcast, episode number 22 is with one of my good friends, oldest friends, known him from at the time I was working in the UCI back in the day, Mr. Dean Phillips, who is a filmmaker, scriptwriter, and photographer, to name just a few of his outstanding skills. Dean, thank you very much for being here today.
Hello.
There you go. Please, introduce yourself to the lovely people out there.
Yep. So, hi guys. As I told you, my name is Dean. And to cut a long story short, I am a creative. Always have been. Always will be. Not your conventional 9-to-5er. And when I have done that, I've always struggled to do so. As my old dear friend Miwa can testify. So yeah, basically, I'm 42. I'm a full-time photographer, short filmmaker. I loved the arts from a young age. I was always fascinated through my love of film, and I feel like my sort of my other parents were films. That's how I relate to films, and that's how close a bond I have with them. That I feel as though I was raised on them, almost like a surrogate parent. I don't know, but I eventually became an actor at a young age. And I ended up doing it for about 15 years professionally. And I really did enjoy it. I did a lot of TV, a lot of West End, all of the usual stuff that actors do. But there was something still missing in me, something that was niggling away at me. I couldn't quite figure out what it was, which I'll get to later, which the question was eventually answered. But going back to sort of current, I did a lot of stuff in TV, and it was always going to be me. I was never a put your suit and tie on, go to work person. It bored me. And even my day jobs, every day job I had, I pretty much just switched off after a while, because although I was there and I was working hard and I was doing my thing, and I suppose I was getting something rewarding out of it, it was never really me. They were all those jobs were just stepping stones until I got to do the things I really wanted to do, which was, anything that was creative. So I did the acting for a while. I acted in a time, not like now, where black actors were still gang member number one.
Wait, weren't you a gang leader at one point?
Gang leader number one, which I played many a part of. Nothing like today. I think if you're a black actor today, at the moment, the world's your oyster. It's a huge improvement. But back when I was doing stuff, and we're only talking about 15 years ago, so the jump has been very recent, that things were still behind. And although I was working, I was never actually getting a sense of fulfillment based on the roles I was playing.
Okay.
So that's how I felt about it. And I thought to myself, well, how am I going to make that change? What is it that's niggling me? What is it about I love about the creative arts process? And then, bing, it hit me. I like to write.
Yeah.
I want to direct. I want to direct. I thought, okay, you know, I love film direction. I thought I'd try my hand at it. And then I ended up, years down the line, going to film school for a while. And there I really found sort of my feet and what I really wanted to do. And not only did I enjoy it, I knew that if I made a success of it, I would be in a strong position behind the camera to kind of invoke more change than in front of it. So stop me if I'm rambling. If you have any questions to interrupt me, please do.
No, you're doing fine. Carry on.
That kind of went well. Okay. So yeah, that kind of went really well. Studied for a while, and it led me to my first short feature that actually didn't end up going anywhere. I had a huge set, huge cast, huge crew, but my very first project, actually, you could call it, was a bit of a failure. Not in terms of success or monetary success, but in terms of actually being completed and getting done. Yeah, it didn't deter me. It didn't deter me. It was a real learning curve, and I learned a lot from the experience. So down the line again, I ended up doing a proper 2 short film feature, actually. And that was a whole different kettle of fish. It felt like the big leagues to me because all my crew were older than me, full-time professionals within the industry. I was the sort of captain of the ship, if you like, but at the same time, I had the least experience out of my entire team. So I knew they were going to put me through my paces, and film sets can be notoriously hardcore for inexperienced directors. But I feel like I stood to the challenge. We got it done, and it did really well. It got into 5 international film festivals, one of them being one of the biggest science fiction festivals in the world, held in New York. And I actually took the time to fly out and represent the film. I wasn't going to do it, but my partner said to me, you know what, why don't you just go, spend a week out there and see what's happening? And I went, New York, hung around, met a lot of other film directors who are now friends, just talked about films all week, attended to festivals and the lectures. And the response to the film was really, really touching. It was amazing. The night of the films that they screened over a week's period, literally we had a Q&A with all the directors go up on stage afterwards. And it seemed like the film was resonating because the amount of Q&A questions pumped towards me in comparison to the other directors was really, really flattering. Bit awkward because it's meant to be an even dispersal of questions for about 9 people on stage.
Yeah.
But every time a question came out, it ended up being towards me. And I was like, this is really nice, but at the same time, there are 9 other films here. And like the other director has something to say.
Everyone else, take a seat. Don't worry. Yeah, this is my time. This is my moment to shine. Yeah.
But this is my time. At the same time, I must admit, I was like, yes, get it, let's do it. Yeah, it was a thoroughly great. Not that I'm vain or anything. No, it was a great week. It was really good to meet other film directors and get other perspectives on life and sort of creativity. And I came back home with a buzz. And I still to this day love to write, and I want to push out more stuff. Now, going backwards slightly, another, because this will feed into my photography, another key passion of mine is travel. I got started at a very, very young age, which I love. I love meeting people that are different, you know, hearing their experiences, getting a wealth of culture. And I ended up sort of pretty much traveling the planet. And that, my longest time away from the country was a year. I did a year backpacking around Asia. And I have to say, although I was 33 at the time, out of all my years of experience, that particular year, I always knew I was a man, but after that year, what I had achieved and accomplished, I really now did feel like a man.
Okay.
It felt like a huge achievement. You know, it was me on my own. I landed in Delhi at 1 a.m. With not a blooming clue, and then life just took off from there. And I ended up traveling around 16 countries in Asia, and just, you know, having to find my way, be resourceful, get myself out of situations. You know, you had the dips in mood and low points during the year. You had high points, but no matter what happened to me, I just persevered. I pushed on, and I maintained doing a whole year. And while I was out there doing all this traveling, I had my little camera with me, and I was constantly taking pictures, constantly shooting. And I got into photography pretty hardcore when I was out there. And I used to post my stuff up on social media. And friends back at home would say to me, "Dean, you're really good. Your pictures are cool. You should really, take it up." But at this point, it was just a hobby. It was just a bit of fun that I really enjoyed doing. And I came back to London, and it clicked on me, I need some sort of sustainable income to keep me going when I'm unable to do films. I'm not going to become a Spielberg or Scorsese overnight, and I need something to keep me going. But I want a day job at the same time that is still creative and I can still enjoy. I can enjoy getting up in the morning and going to it rather than going, I've got to put on this uniform and do whatever. So I thought, I'm going to push this photography thing, start up a business, and have that as my sort of secondary go-to. And it's been a hard graft, still is, but over the last year now, things have been beginning to turn, and I had to learn a lot. I had to go back to school. I went to photography school, ended up at the London School of Photography, took almost a year training there, and by the way, that training was monumental, kind of changed me. And the training there was so amazing that a lot of the practices also filtered through into my filmmaking. So I got a double whammy through my experience there. And yeah, I decided to start the business up, change my style, because obviously I was used to travel. So I had to get into doing stuff like fashion, which was a complete accident, and predominantly performer headshots. But the fashion thing became quite successful. I started making a lot of editorials on publications, and then the headshot thing began to grow as well. So in London now, I predominantly do headshot portraiture, and I do a lot of sort of kind of editorial clothing and fashion stuff. I love it. It's really, really going strong. It's a blooming expensive occupation to have photography. Honestly, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm going to sell an organ just to be able to afford my next piece of equipment. But what you get in return, I think, is worth it. I think what you get in return is worth it. And, again, you're trying to many positive.
Loving it.
There's a lot of positive. I've met some great people shooting.
Yeah,
I've met some great people shooting. Also met some plonkers. Photography and shoots are not without their politics, like any other job. But on the way so far, last 3-4 years, I have worked with some fantastic people, made new friends, and just I enjoy doing what I do. So I've winded my nets. Film's not over for me. I've got stuff in the pipeline, but my day job now is my photography, and it's been a long, hard road actually. Pushing and working on my photography, so I've been in an affordable position to make it my day job. Because again, it's like any other kind of creative art. Making that your day job is extremely hard. That's why, for example, every actor has a day job until they hit the big time. Every whatever tends to have a day job until they hit the big time. But I've been very fortunate and blessed at the moment to be able to live off my photography. And anyone that knows the business knows that's extremely difficult. So we'll see what happens. I'm riding the wave at the moment, a very happy wave. And yeah, I am for now a short filmmaker and professional photographer.
Yeah,
that's how I describe myself.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the introduction. Basically, very informative. And let me just take you back now. You, like you said, you were doing acting for 14 years. Would you be able to tell us what, your first role was you got as a paid actor?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, I was very jammy, very jammy. I got, it was the last year of college, and I got scouted in my graduation show, and I ended up playing Edgar in King Lear in the West End.
Right.
I was 18 years old. I was, if you know the play, Edgar's one of the principal characters, so I was petrified. And the company was called Parthenon, and we ended up performing at the Tristan Bates, or better known as the Actors Centre in Covent Garden.
Ah.
And literally, I was around all these older people that were very experienced within the industry. And then there's little old me with not even a sort of minor role where you could hide and kind of get away with stuff, quite a prominent one. So I cacking my pants, absolutely cacking my pants. But but the show got really good reviews. Again, it was a really good experience. And at a young age, I learned a lot. And yeah, that was my proper full-on kind of first professional gig, if you like, into acting. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's great. So, like, how long was the run on that?
Oh God, good question. Counting back the years now, I think it was about 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
It was about 4 weeks to run. I can't remember how much rehearsal we had. Yeah, it was about 4 weeks to run, and then that led me into. I went for a phrase where each job led me to another rather than having gaps.
Yeah.
So it's 4 weeks run. That led me. God knows what else I ended up in. I think it was. If memory says, I can't even remember, to be honest. I remember my next major theatre gig, but I can't remember if that was immediately after. That was at the New Shore Theatre in the Cochrane in Holborn.
Oh, yes.
That was called The Whirlwind and the Storm, and that was a kind of biography on the black leader activist Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Okay.
So I ended up with a role in that. And that was amazing. Big cast, really good fun. I really enjoyed it. Did okay as well. The actual show did okay. And from that, I got an agent. Somebody came down. I got an agent. Got representation, and that's what then led into my TV work. So one of my earliest gigs was can't remember the order chronologically. I did an episode of EastEnders, that one episode of the year at the Soap Awards.
Okay.
Which is quite cool. It was a very weird episode for EastEnders at the time. Every single scene had Shane Ritchie in it. There was not many people in it. I won't bore you with the details, but in one episode of the year at the Soap Awards, that did well. I ended up in a 2-part of The Bill as a drug dealer. Check out the Times. As a drug dealer, by The Bill.
Yeah.
Not stereotyping at all or anything.
No.
I ended up in
I think drug dealer.
Black member #1.
Yes.
And I did Casualty. So I went down to Bristol, did a few days filming. And I did a commercial for Knick Knacks, which again did really well. It was banned for a while in the daytime because it was seen as too graphic. It made the media.
Really?
Oddly enough.
I do remember that, but
it's the top 100. Channel 5, the top 100 commercials. It was in there, but basically it was a take on the movie Alien.
Yeah.
So we're sitting around the table like the original crew members, like the movie Alien, and then one of us starts to choke. Instead of an alien coming out of his chest, it's a giant knick-knack.
Spoilers.
It was quite graphic. The special effects were really good.
Yeah.
It was really graphic, and I think all that contributed and stuff put parents off. And then we started dancing at the end of the commercial. So that did quite well. But it had a bit of trouble in the media.
Yeah,
so I couldn't believe it when I saw it in the newspaper. Yeah.
Oh man. So you've done all of these acting roles. What would you say, was the Marcus Garvey one the one that really stood out as the best role you did, or was there another acting role out there which, you know what I mean, sort of
oddly enough, one of my favorite acting roles today, sounds odd, is still my graduation college show. Funny enough, that got me the King Lear role.
Okay.
Because it was a summer outdoor performance, and I absolutely loved it. I played Don Pedro in
Yeah.
Much Ado About Nothing, and I had the best time ever. And it's still, as a show, as a college show, it was very well directed, and I just had so much fun. And I loved the character, I loved the role, and everything about it. It was great, and the costume. And although it's not the sort of big time professional thing, I still enjoy it as one of my most favorite acting moments, like that graduation college show. Yeah, I think that and the fun on EastEnders was good. That was a lot of good fun. But as I said before, I started to wane a bit with what I was getting and what was out there. So I made the decision to leave. And some could call it a bad one. Some could call it a bad one based on how Black British actors are doing today at the moment.
Right.
Some could argue, had I stayed, I could have been in that bracket. But then at the same time, maybe where I'm going at the moment, that's my particular destiny. And one more thing, sorry to waffle on, huge influence on me. So the person who got me into drama in the first place was a friend of mine called Ruth in secondary school.
Okay.
And I started in secondary school doing a lot of shows, and the drama teachers took a shine to me. So even though I was in the 4th or 5th year, they had me in the graduation shows with the 6th formers. So Ruth said to me, I'm going to take you to see a church friend of mine, because she was very religious.
Yeah.
He's a Black actor. He's really good. He's auditioning for LAMDA, the famous, obviously, UK drama school, London Academy of Musical Dramatical Arts.
Okay.
And he's auditioning tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you want to go around his house and meet him, you might get him to perform. So I went round there, and this guy blew my mind. He did the Merchant of Venice monologue in his front room in Tufnell Park. And he was just amazing. He inspired me. He was like such an amazing actor. This person today is none other than David Oyelowo, who obviously one of his most famous roles recently, he played Martin Luther King in Selma. He's been in Jack Reacher, in a lot of Hollywood movies. David, he's been in a lot of BBC dramas, as you know, Small Island, stuff like that. But David, I know David. And after that, I met David many times through the years. I used to go to auditions, and David would be in the room auditioning as well. He'd be in the waiting room. But our link is Ruth, my good old friend of mine called Ruth Trice, who's now Ruth Magnus, actually. Now she's married. And that's what inspired me a lot, is meeting him, funny enough.
You say you left the industry, basically, is this something you would kind of revisit? Because things have changed, times have changed, and there seems like there is a wealth of opportunity for, many actor out there, be it Black, white, or ostrich right now, because the amount of content which is being produced, like Netflix, Disney Plus, you name it, there is now a streaming service, and they're looking to put out content. Would you revisit acting, do you reckon?
Honestly, I don't know. I would, percentage-wise, I would say it would be stronger that I wouldn't. Excuse me. It's because I really do love being on the other side of the camera. I like working with actors. It's weird. There's a bit of a, if you're a director who was once an actor, there is a bit of a kind of a real sense of fulfillment you get by directing actors, knowing that you were once one.
Okay.
They say sometimes they can make the stronger directors because of the fact that they've been on that side. But I really do get a kind of a thrill out of directing actors, knowing that I was once one myself. So I think it's not about, I mean, although things have changed, I think it's just a personal preference, really, to write and direct. I think definitely.
If the opportunity arrived, would you do something like YTT, where he kind of directs and does these little cameo bits here and there in the screen.
Who's this? What did you say?
YTT, from like Guardian, like from four movies, and JoJo.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Possibly, yeah. That I could do.
Okay.
But I suppose his cameos are a lot better than Tarantino's cameos. That's for sure.
Oh, come on now. Like Tarantino, he showed up in a bathrobe for one of his first ones, and then like basically got immediately shot in the face. So yeah.
Sometimes they say directors should not be in their own films, and he, for me, is a living example to justify that point. No disrespect, I think he's a great director.
Oh yeah, but put it this way, I did love his last film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've got to say, yeah, that was the last film I've actually seen in the cinema. The thing I didn't like about it is the way how he portrayed Bruce Lee. And I was like a little bit like, come on, man. Come on, it's Bruce Lee, living freaking legend. What has he done to you? You know what I mean? But I was just like, yeah. But the rest of the film, I really enjoyed.
But that kicked off a lot of storm because his daughter spoke out about it. Bruce Lee's daughter spoke out about it.
Yeah.
She had really serious issues with his portrayal.
And like this is the thing, I could see when I watched it, I was like, yeah, you missed the mark there. You know what I mean? Remember Inglourious Bastards? Okay, now,
right,
yeah, Inglourious Bastards, apart from the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, was rubbish to me. It was a rubbish film. But that 10, 15 minutes was...
I completely agree. I've had this debate for years.
Yeah, sublime. But when it came to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the rest of the film was really good. And it got to that Bruce Lee moment. And it was just like, yeah, what are you doing? That's when it went off on one. Like he was trying to prove some point. I don't know what, but you know what I mean.
And it's such a big dip in form because for me, the opening 15 minutes of Inglourious Bastards, right, I honestly believe, I still would say today, is one of the best openings to a movie ever made. Especially in terms of script writing and tension, yeah? I would defy anybody to come and argue that point with me, that could not be in at least the top 10 of openings to a film. So why it took such a big crash and burn, why it took such a big crash and burn from after that scene, is beyond me, because the rest of it was just ridiculous for me.
Yeah, no, it was just, I watched it, it was just, like, if it wasn't for that 10, 15 minutes, I would have been like, no, give me my money back. And like, you know what I mean? It was like that 10, 15 minutes, I could go, both of those guys deserve the Oscar. Give them an Oscar, done, dusted. The rest of the film, you're just like going, there ain't no point to it. No point at all. And it was just like...
The fact of the matter is, I'll be honest with you, he's declined with each film. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Right. I thought there were some great scenes in there. I thought the performances were great. Overall, I wasn't overly wowed, but I think his first 3 films are the best. And this is, by the way, a film that is very underrated by this guy, right? And I'll tell you why it was underrated, because it came out after Pulp Fiction. And nothing was going to ever top Pulp Fiction. But as a very, very standalone film, Jackie Brown is very underrated. It's actually a really good film. It's one of the ones you have to watch twice or so. Very, very good. Those 3 films are his best work.
What was his first 3 films?
Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Then Jackie Brown.
Yeah. Then he did the writing for Crimson Tide, like for the short section between Gene Hackman and
he got he was like a ghostwriter, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a bit of a ghostwriter. He did Dusk Till Dawn. He wrote the script for that.
True Romance, I think he wrote the script, but he didn't actually direct it. So it was like, they all came out.
Directed that.
Yeah. It all came out in quick succession, which you know what I mean. Very good. Like, brilliant. Yeah. No, but like this is the thing. With regards to you did that for 14 years, acting, going out, doing all of that work. Was it a case of after the 14 years you just went traveling or went into photography? How, like, wait, no, was it you went traveling after 14 years? Sorry.
So chronologically, I did the acting first.
Mm,
Then my day job for many years, almost 20, has been education.
right.
So I did a lot of mentoring in education, but I started traveling loads in my early 20s
Mm-hmm.
in dribs and drabs. And then it became literally an addiction. And I did remember, not so much now, but in the early 2000s when EasyJet and Ryanair were ridiculously cheap, I was one of those people that milked it. And just literally every school holiday, I
Yeah.
would be on a plane going somewhere. And that's how I managed to rack up so much countries. And then I started to commit more. So then one day, eventually I went into education full time. And I
Mm,
did 4 years in a school, 4.5 years. And life was just spiraling out of control for me. I wasn't feeling anything anymore. I mean, like the old expression goes, the wine no longer had no taste, you know.
mm,
Nothing was fulfilling me, and I wasn't doing anything creative. I wasn't enjoying my day job. And one day I was in Islington, and I walked past the flight center, and I'd recently come into some cash. I paused and I turned and I went, let me just go and have a look and browse.
mm-hmm.
And I went into the flight center, and to cut a long story short, within an hour of being there, I had committed myself to a round the world ticket. So literally, I came out, my hands were shaking. I went to the pub to get myself a whiskey because I was only passing on a whim. And I ended up getting like 3 or 4 jobs just to work so I could have extra money. And I literally booked, I think, like 9 months in advance. So I worked
Yeah.
every job I could do. And like I said, I got on a plane and I landed in Delhi at 1 a.m. And to me, I'm sorry, it's still the best year of my life.
Yeah.
It's still the best year of my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, the experience of having a baby girl, the love of this, she's amazing. But in terms of a year of my life, in terms of a year of my life and experiences and how I grew as a person, that year away is always going to be forever etched in my memory. It was just the most fun time ever.
No, no problems. I'm impressed
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the backpedaling you did right there, really quickly, just in case Vicky.
You know, I had a girl 5 months ago. Small minor thing, yeah, little baby pops out about 5 months ago. Little minor thing, but no. All seriousness aside, I needed that year
Yeah.
because mentally, emotionally, I was off the grid. This was 2013. I left.
Mm.
I really was off the grid. Nothing was really. I didn't feel anything for anything anymore, and I really needed something radical, a radical change, and that was it. Maybe it was divine intervention, who knows? But when I came back, what that did, one of the main knock-on effects that did for me was it gave me a lot more focus than before I'd left.
Okay.
So that's when I seriously got my arse in gear when it came to my creativity, getting films made, getting the photography off the ground.
Mm.
All that for me stepped from my year away. That kind of grew me as a human being. And actually, my first film I did, which was a big leap, was actually shot abroad. I met a friend of mine, and you were there that night, actually. Funny enough, you were there that night. My friend Patricia, cut a long story short,
Was
she
that
got
in the
into loving my
Angelic pub?
work.
Sorry.
That was in the Angelic pub when we met Patricia, but
Ah.
she produced my first movie, which she said, look, I haven't got the time to do it in London because I'm always in Italy, so just come out and do it there.
Mm-mm.
So my first short film project with a professional crew and actors was actually shot abroad in a nice and amazing apartment in the center of Rome. That was my first ever gig. And I'm really grateful for her for giving me my first start and giving me the experience.
Yeah.
Amazing person and still a good friend today. So yeah. That year away, it changed everything for me.
Like,
Changed
may I,
everything.
yeah, may I ask, like, with regards to, like, how much money did that epiphanal moment cost? Because around the world, like, plane ticket. I know it.
Um, well, let's just put it this way. I've managed to cope this far without having a kidney that I've had to sell on the black market. I've managed to cope, so that can kind of give you no, seriously. God, how much did it cost me? Actually, wasn't that pricey. It was under £2,000. And that much I remember, because of the nature of how your flights are structured. It was under £2,000. So if you think about it like that, but then you've got to rack up everything else.
Yeah.
So that's just the ticket. You know, your accommodation's yours, and everything else you've got to deal with. But you get a set amount of flights from certain destinations. And what I would do is I'd land in that destination, spend a few months backpacking around other countries or other places, come back to that destination for my next flight out.
Okay.
So that's how you do it. Yeah, you back then you were allowed something like 7 stops.
7 stops.
And that's how you kind of yeah. So to be honest, my ticket was an around the world ticket, but I fell in love with Asia so much I never got out of Asia. But I had quite a few stops within Asia anyway.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it. Since then, I've been gone away for 4 months. I did Australia, New Zealand, and South America, and I've had other holidays in between. So I've been gone again, but I love it. I want to get my daughter into it as soon as she's able enough. She's getting on a plane with me, because I want her to get that experience way before I did.
Okay.
Because it will definitely enrich your life as a human being. Definitely.
Ah, outstanding.
So,
yeah. May I ask? Can you tell us about the best place you went on your round the world journey, and the worst place you went, and why?
I don't know if I can answer that, because I've tried to think of a favorite place, and it's so hard. What do I like? What did I like? Okay, I'd say one of my top places out there was my trip 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is the old capital of Brazil, Salvador.
Ah.
Salvador is one of my favorite places in the world. So that's a lot of people don't know this. The highest concentration of Black people outside of Africa, people assume is actually America. It's not. It's Brazil.
Right.
Brazil has the most Blacks outside Africa, and the main city that they're everywhere, but the main town city that they are from is Salvador, which was the major cities of Brazil, and it's a coast port city, and it's amazing. They still have the traditional Black culture mixed in with the Portuguese who colonized, and they have you still get Africans in dashikis and stuff like that, the Black people there, and that's the home of capoeira. It's the home of samba. All the things it's from Salvador.
Okay.
So it was a really enriching experience. Also, being a Black man, it was a really enriching experience going to Salvador and getting the history behind those things I just mentioned, and meeting other Black people there and sharing experiences and talking to them. And outside all that, it's beautiful. It's the beaches, the whole landscape is absolutely amazing. So yeah, Salvador's up there for me in Brazil. Definitely. Definitely. Worst place? That's a tough one. A place I found really boring was I can't remember if it's the capital, but there's a city in Laos called Vientiane. I think it's the capital. I can't remember, but I was just dead. It was dry as old bones. There was nothing going on there. Luckily for me, I was with a good set of people.
That's cool.
But yeah, not very memorable to me. Rough place. One of the roughest places I've ever been is Jakarta.
Okay.
But that's not to say I didn't like Jakarta. Yeah, because I'm ghetto myself. I'm from Tottenham, but Jakarta's rough. Jakarta is rough.
Yeah, no.
But it's an enjoyable rough. It's an enjoyable rough.
Okay, yeah, because when you say Tottenham's rough, but then you go Jakarta, I'm going to say they're operating on maybe a slightly different level. That's all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah.
Yeah. I got jumped by 2 guys on a bike coming back home from a bar.
Okay.
I got jumped by 2 guys. I fought them off, and they were trying to nick my camera. And that was a sore point for me, because I already had lost my camera in Sri Lanka, and my camera nicked in Sri Lanka. So I did not want the second camera nicked. So I really which was stupid really, because I could have been killed. But they jumped off a bike, jumped me, I fought with them, and then they gave up, they jumped back on the bike and drove off. But the actual city itself looks like, it really looks rough, but it's cool though. It's cool.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah,
excellent.
yeah, yeah.
No, no. But like this is
Mhm.
the thing.
But
What if you
yeah.
traveling for a year? Like it's a case of like you went out there by yourself, all Han Solo. But like I imagine you must have met some interesting people along the way while you were out there.
Oh God, yeah, I met some amazing people. Some of them are still friends today. Some of them have come to London and visited me,
Hmm.
which is really weird to see them dressed normally, because we spend so much time together. You're in flip flops and vests and shorts, and then you meet up in the future in London. And because London isn't the warmest place, you're all dressed normally. But yeah, I met some amazing people. I even, I'm comfortable to share, I even dated somebody for a while on the move, and we spent a lot of time together. That's really interesting when you meet backpacking and you decide to journey together. That's
Okay.
kind of it's a different kind of closeness to
Right.
meeting mentally. It was a it was a nice experience, because it was interesting to, you can get lonely and sometimes you want someone to share stuff with. So that was a nice period in the year. That person, obviously we're not together anymore, we're still good friends.
Yes.
But yeah, I met some really cool people from all over the planet. And if you don't think about backpacking on your own, if you don't like somebody after a while, you can bounce.
Hmm.
If you do, you can hang around. And that was often the case. There was people I met where I couldn't stand, and I had the freedom of choice to bail out. But it's very hard saying goodbye when you're together for a certain amount of time, even if it's just 3 weeks,
Yeah.
because the nature of what you're doing is quite an intense 3 weeks.
Hmm.
So, and you get used to each other quite quickly. So when you have to part or you go in separate destinations, those goodbyes tended to be quite difficult. The
Mm.
longest period of time I did outside this particular girl was, I was with some people for about 7 weeks.
Mm.
Um, it was time to separate. That was extremely hard and emotional.
Yeah, I could.
But yeah, we're
Yeah.
still great.
I can imagine. So because like when you're over in like when you're in the real world, real life, you've got many a thing to sort of distract you, like work, just family, and stuff
Yeah,
like this. It's like when you're traveling, I imagine it's so intensely well, you've got quite a bit of downtime, but that still means you've got so much extra time to focus on the people you're actually hanging around with. And yeah, I can imagine like deep conversations and deep bonds like were built along the way, as you mentioned. So yeah, I can understand like the driving force behind that and what makes it hard at times to like say goodbye to these people, close friends that they are now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Love it. I recommend it to anybody. You can get out there, just get out there. It's one of the most rewarding, enriching experiences a human being can do is to travel. I recommend it to anyone I meet. Just get out there. The world is it's an amazing place. All
Mm.
right, maybe not at the moment, but
Well,
generally, all joking
it's like,
aside, the world is an amazing
mm. It's
place.
like, be careful now. It's like, yeah, yeah.
My that advice tends to go to young people on me. I say to them, as soon as you get the money, take some time out and just get on a plane.
Mm. What was like? What would you say was one of the most fundamental lessons you learned when you were traveling?
Um, I think it sounds a bit cheesy. I think it was really accepting who I was as a person,
Hmm.
right? Accepting that it's okay to have faults. Um, yeah, accepting that, you know what, through that year, I kind of learned who I was. Really, really learned who I was as a person. Um, but more importantly, making sure that I didn't get back to London and didn't get back to London and lose that sense of momentum, which at times I feel I have.
Mm.
But yeah, it's accepting who I was as a person, knowing that that's okay. Who I am, it's okay. And yeah, and yeah, just the achievement that I did it. That is the achievement I managed that year. I did it. It's yeah, really uplifting. Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah. Resourcefulness is another
mm-hmm.
thing. Just having to, keep sharp, keep your wits about you. Little things from, how to pack your stuff efficiently, down to how to handle yourself.
Yeah,
It's because everywhere you go is different, but you gotta start having an organized system in your head to sort of keep you, partly keep you alive, but
mm.
partly, so you're able to kind of handle yourself. And I'll tell you this: a street education is one of the best educations you can get. Because when you're from the ends like we are, from your Tottenhams or your Hackneys or your Brixton,
Yeah,
those skills you have growing up on the kids call it on road now.
yeah,
Those skills you kind of acquire, your kind of your common sense and your wits and stuff. They are such transferable skills when it comes to traveling.
mm-hmm.
Because you go to other ghettos, you go to other rough neighborhoods, you go to others, not even about rough neighborhoods. You get into other situations that you encounter that you know how to handle, and you don't realize how much of a level of common sense you've obtained because of your background environment back in London. Whereas I met people that were from well-to-do backgrounds,
Yeah,
quite middle upper posh backgrounds, that could not hack certain situations and did not get or spot danger, or just they weren't with it or savvy
mm.
because of the environment, how they were raised. But people like us, I'm telling you, those skills really do transfer out there when you're out there and you meet certain people or get into certain situations or scrapes. You
Mm.
can't beat it, man. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. So yeah, it's and I think the final thing I've learned is how lucky I am.
Mm.
How lucky I am. I've a lot of kids and a lot of us here use the term ghetto, which I actually find insulting because I've seen the ghetto. Those
Yeah,
streets in Jakarta. I went to the favelas in Brazil. I've
mm.
seen the slums in Calcutta. You name them places. I've seen really what defines the word ghetto.
Mm.
London
No,
has no ghettos.
yeah,
Trust me.
no. I understand where you come from. Even though I haven't seen these places myself, I think one of the things which I think we take for granted is the standard at where the UK is. Like, admittedly, the UK is not like sunshine and rainbows. It's not like perfect or ideal,
Oh,
but
absolutely not. It's still hard work.
yeah. But if you want to say it's the worst of the worst, it's a distant galaxy away from that. And like, you know what I mean? Like when I was like went over to Nigeria to visit some places, I don't walk past open gutters in the UK, but I did in like Nigeria in some parts, even though like, yeah, you can go to places which had fantastic mansions, but like there's some streets in Lagos, you're like, oh my God, what the hell is this? But yeah,
It's been the situations, right, where I've got epic stories, meanwhile, about getting a bar of chocolate. I
mm,
have epic stories about acquiring a bar of chocolate.
yeah,
You step out of your house here, you got your chicken and chip shop, you got news
mm,
agents, you got all kinds of different shops at your disposal just to go in and pop and get something and come out with it.
yeah,
I've got situations where you really have to be prepared that I don't even mean being out in a rural area. I just mean generally within the environment you're in. It could be a city where you can't just step out and have things as easy as London. You can't just jump on a tube. Um, we have a benefit system, even though it
yeah,
isn't perfect. When you're on your knees out there, you're on your knees out there. Here,
yeah,
it might not be perfect, but there are options.
indeed.
There are options.
No, I totally
So,
agree. And like this is the thing, like even if you took it to the simplest thing where you can just turn on a tap and you got a glass of
yeah,
water,
absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
and it's like you go, oh, like you hear the story, oh, Thames water, it's been through 9 people before it comes to you. But tell you what, that is clean water which you can drink, and it's not
Yeah,
gonna like make you ill or kill you. So you know what I mean? You think,
absolutely.
come on.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've been in places where you couldn't shower for days, and I
Mm.
know there's loads of people that have been through that. Yeah, but just a simple thing, like you said, turning on the tap, getting underneath a shower, right? Even now to this day, when I step underneath a shower, there's a quick primary second of me that goes, "This is the best shower in the world. I appreciate the shower."
Yeah.
Because I remember those days where I couldn't even get an ounce of spit, let alone a flow of water.
Mm.
So, like, if I sip a drink now, I sip it with a big. I save that drink. I save. I'm trying to say, rude boy. I save that meal. I save that drink because you don't know when you're gonna eat again.
Oh,
You know? Yeah.
I can just see you now. So, an officer of Ribena in the UK, you just get misty eyed. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's a funny one. It's a funny one.
Yeah.
I'm back now. I have a 5-month-old daughter. She's grounded me for a while,
Uh-huh.
and got a nice happy life here with her, my partner, and life is great, different but great, and I'm just trying to push forward now and yeah, to see what can. I mean, last year was one of the worst years of my life. Really, was the worst year of my life. A lot happened last year, so I'm trying to make this year a positive one. And now she's in the world. She's really helped to guide me because I've had to put the issues I've had aside from last year, and I've had to focus on her.
Yeah.
And that focus has really helped.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Like, so if there was one place you could think you would take your little one for the first time, where do you think that would be? Like, outside of this country or inside this country?
I would take her to. Depends on what lesson I was trying to teach her. With me, there's always got to be a lesson. I actually think I would take her back home to the Caribbean
Okay.
to see my family
Uh,
and just see the beauty of the Caribbean. I think roots first before anything else.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So set a foundation and build from there.
And build from there, definitely. I think, the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
The Caribbean, definitely. Definitely. But I've got plans for her. It's all going to be holidays and, thingy hotels. I want her to rough it a bit early. I wanted to see some real sort of stuff early and just help her to sort of remember and recognize what she has.
Mm. Like,
So,
okay. I can, I
that's
see.
the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah, but that's always going to be one of those things, I imagine, a tricky game, because not so much a game, a tricky lesson to sort of convey, because like if things get exponentially better for you and like Vicky, like financially speaking wise and stuff like this, eventually like the sort of lifestyle you led is going to be totally alien to her, if you get what I mean. And like trying to sort of like do that sort of jump in and go, this is where I was like, because if you kind of look at much of London, it's changed extremely from when we were like, you know what I mean, young and running around to today. Because like, yeah, let's just think, like if we
I mean,
look at
she should have all the privileges and benefits of my of my success. But I mean, in the traveling sense, I still like her to witness and see some of the lifestyle hardship I've seen, just to help her remember and just to experience it. I'd spent some time traveling. I went to all those mad places like the Amazon. I'd like her to do like maybe a week and a half there, for example, with me, just to live like they live, just to show her something and to give her a bit of ground, and just to kind of speak, just to help her maintain, that level of grounding.
yeah.
Although she'll be living quite a privileged lifestyle,
Okay.
is the plan.
No, like I'm sure you'll be able to pass on those lessons quite successfully. Like, yeah. just sort of changing tact for a moment. Like, yeah, you did your travels, and yeah, photography became a thing you got into, like in a major way. It's currently what you're doing as a business right now. Like, yeah, what did you start? You mentioned you had 2 cameras, which like you fought to save one and you lost another. What like cameras did you start out with?
Okay, so I started out with I think it was I think I had something like a 600D, a DSLR.
Yeah.
And then when it got nicked, I ended up replacing it in Nepal, of all places. I went to a Canon shop in Nepal and I got myself, because I was on a budget, I could only afford a Canon, it was a power shot or a sure shot.
Okay, yeah.
Camera, which obviously is quite limited now. And that's how I started out. But yeah, my DSLR got nicked, went to the sure shot, and then eventually now I shoot on a 6D. With hopes to go up to a 5D. But yeah, now I'm on a Canon 6D.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, has its pros and cons, but I will always go for a DSLR every time at the gate over any kind of digital. Mind you, I might make the switch to mirrorless. Who knows? Who knows?
I see you rubbing your head there, like, yeah, like with the sort of expensive
I'm thinking of the price.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I'm thinking of
so
the price,
much money. So much
you
money.
know, photography at the price. You know how expensive that is.
Oh,
anytime you think about a piece of photographic equipment, you always have to rub your head.
Oh yeah, but like, yeah, one of the things they never sort of tell you about the whole photography game is like, okay, you go get the book. You like, I want to be a photographer. I want to get out there. You get like, you look at the DSLRs, and you go right. You spend your cash. You got your camera there, and you go, great. Oh, but now I want it to be more of a wide shot. Well, now you need a lens that will go from either 10 to 18 or 22. Oh, okay, how much is that? It's like, oh, that, like, depending on what lens you want, that can be anything from £500 to £2,000. You're like, what? And then basically it's like, right, okay, how many lenses do you need? Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. You might need 2 lenses, 4 lenses, or just a whole array of lenses, all ranging from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000, even up to £5,000. And it's just like, you can't, like, you kind of like, ouch, which makes it kind of a hard barrier of entry for many. But like, I can only think back in the day when you had to do film development as well, how awful that would have been as well, because I would say that would have just eliminated so many more.
The smallest piece of equipment can be expensive.
Now, what was the most expensive piece of equipment do you own at this present time? Like, which you're like, hey,
I think that's a good question. I think my most expensive piece of equipment, obviously I use my big iMac for a lot of my software and editing. That's up there.
Yeah.
It's probably my iMac and my studio lights. Those 2 pieces of equipment. I've recently acquired the Canon, not Canon, Profoto AX1 for Canon.
Okay.
That's just cost me just over £1,000.
What is that, by the way?
Okay, so it looks like a flash,
okay,
right? But Profoto don't describe it as a flash. It goes on a camera like a flash, and it can work off camera, but it's the system is of studio quality. So for those of you who don't know, Profoto is probably the best company make when it comes to photography lighting. That's like a real pro thing. That's the #1 make, Profoto. The quality is amazing. Even the box, when I unwrapped it, smelled sexy. That's how good it was. Even the box smelled sexy, right? And I've bought this. What I've done is it's Pro Photo have described it not as a speed light.
Yeah.
They don't know kind of know how to categorize it, but the results have been absolutely amazing. So today I had a shoot. I had 2 clients today. Rather than set up my studio lights, I just used my Pro Photo off-camera flash, put it on a light stand, connected it, and the results were, I'll have to say, because it's Pro Photo, the results were probably better quality than my actual studio lights. And I've used it outside as well. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And rather than a huge chunk of lights with a huge softbox, I now can just put that right on top of it, rig up to the lighting stand, and you connect the other piece to your camera, and then you work it through a phone app you have to download.
Okay.
So you change your settings through the phone app, and then you shoot. And the results have been the colors and the way the light wraps around it, your subject.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It's if you're wealthy and you're in photography and you can afford lighting gear, the number one I'd always recommend them is Pro Photo. It's just anything you buy of them. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Like,
so yeah.
So like this is the thing in the photography game, and like after the camera, like if you got yourself a camera, you got yourself the lens, what would you say is the most important thing to get after all of that?
Well, so after your camera and your lenses,
yeah, what would you say makes a major difference?
You see, that's like, because it depends on what kind of photography you want to be. So if you want to do a lot of indoor stuff, or you've got the room facilitate some sort of studio, then I would say you'd want to go for studio lights. In my humble opinion, if you have that setup or environment, you would want to go for studio lights. Let's just say you don't have your own studio, like most photographers don't. They're just normal.
Yeah.
Then I would say, after your camera lenses, you would want. I'd say a good external flash would be nice.
Okay.
If photography needs a flash, a good external flash would be nice. And I would say that, and then also the second important thing is investing in yourself. To clarify, what I mean is get the right software for retouching. You're going to be a photographer. You want to make sure you're able to retouch and edit. Which reminds me, sorry, this. If you really want to go pro, sorry, I've changed my external flash thing. This has revolutionized things for me. This is called the Spider 5 Elite.
Okay.
This is a monitor calibrator. So you don't know, computers are not designed to show photography in its accurate state because of the RGB.
Right.
What this does, a small little device, it recalibrates your monitor to suit photography. And it actually changes with the light of the natural daylight coming in. So once you set it up on your system, it will adjust itself automatically depending on what time of day you're working. But what will happen is when you send an image out to somebody, or when you print it, it will look exactly the same. And if you've ever noticed, but when you take a picture on your phone, if it's in your files, in your preview, it's different to when you post it online. All of a sudden, it becomes more saturated. It becomes more this. It's because of the pixelation and blah, blah, blah. This will pretty much provide consistency for your photography once you've finished it. Again, very small piece of equipment, 200 quid.
Small piece of equipment, but makes a lot of difference.
If you're serious about photography, you have to have a monitor calibrator. You got to. So this is the best. Just tipping you out. If you are interested, one of the best companies for this particular item is this company. They're called Spider, as in SPYDER, not the normal conventional spelling of spider.
No S.
Yeah.
So okay. So with the work you're doing, what's been the most interesting work you've been doing with regards to photography, or most interesting job you've done? so far?
I do like my fashion shoots because I've become a creative director, but I've delved into a lot of boudoir and nude art photography. I've been doing a lot of that over the last year, which is really interesting. Calm down, boys. It's not what you think it's like.
I didn't say.
No, the reason why, because so many of my male friends are like the stereotypical thing. Some of my male friends are like, "Oh my god, you got these fit nude models in your studio, blah blah blah. You must be." And actually, you've got so much going on in your head creatively. There's so much to think about and plan. The body becomes a vessel for your idea. You're not even thinking about her nude body because you're working as a creative and you've got an agenda and things to do, right? Number two, in the time and climate we live in, you don't want to be up for any form of harassment as well. So at the end of the day, actually, and I'm obviously being a male, I have to be careful and I am professional. I'd like to think I am. So actually, with all that being said, it's good fun and it's great to create stuff, but it's not as glamorous in the way that lads might think. It's not kind of it's actually hard work.
Like basically, I would imagine that with regards to doing like nude shots, it comes down to, you say the vessel, but it's like they now become how can I say it, part of the artwork or the full art form you want to portray over everything.
Absolutely. It's all about that. It really is. And with me, because I'm such a geek, I'm more thrilled about the artistic idea coming out the way I want it, rather than a naked woman being in my studio. It's just, I'm used to it now, and obviously it takes a lot of trust. The models I'm with, I have that rapport with them. You have to have with any subject, but especially with the fragility of nudity, you have to have that chemistry. So the majority of nude models I've worked with are actually very good friends of mine. Not just randoms, very, very good friends of mine. And we have that connection of professional trust that we can do and create the kind of work we do. But it's great to do, but not glamorous in the way that most men would think it's glamorous. Yeah.
No, excellent, excellent. So with regards to what would be a next, like, how can I, is there a particular big project you're looking to do with photography? You've done like short film, but is there like sort of like one sort of like big project you're looking to do, say in the future?
Yes. Yeah, I've drafted up the ideas for images. At the moment, the working title is it's a weird title. It's basically Black Men, Myths, Legends, Fantasies. So I want to do some portraiture on Black stereotypes of masculinity. So I've actually got some ideas on this, using sort of historical data, the portrayal of us through media, some really kind of thought-provoking, eye-catching imagery that, when the viewer looks at the image, it makes them think. I've actually got a whole kind of sort of thesis based on each image. So at the moment, I've compiled 6 ideas. Very easy to do, actually. Nothing major involved. It's just about getting the right personnel to shoot it. I've had this idea for about a year now, but I'm going to be kicking it off. Probably, I should start getting the time for about mid-April to do this. And then my plan is, if it comes out how it comes out, I'd like to get it exhibited.
Fair enough. Now, there's a guy, I think his name's Chappus Williams. He did a project called 56 Black Men, basically where he got 56 black men to all be in the same hoodie. And I basically did it to like portray. Yeah.
I know. He got famous people as well, because one of them
Oh
was David
yeah,
Lammy.
yeah. He got
One of them
David
was
Lamb.
David Lammy.
Yeah, he got a whole array of people to come on, and like this is the thing. As he was saying, he wanted to combat the stereotype of like how it was for you back in the day, gang member, like thief, like violence, everything like this. To see it portray black men in a different light, which I've got to say, for many of the images you see, yeah, it's very sort of high quality like pieces he was doing, even though it's like the same picture again and again, but just different people. But now I think he's turned it into quite a bit of a little movement for himself. So, well, not for himself, for the black community. So yeah, anyone who can
I'm
add
very
to
excited
that,
about the
that'd be
project.
good.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the project. It's not been done what I'm going to do.
Mm.
And it's obviously I'm not going to share like the ideas, but I'm really excited about this project. All I got to do is just find the personnel, and which is not a problem either. Or basically, easy just get up off my ass and get it done, which I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that, and see what happens from there. And I'd recommend any photographer coming up, do your own project as well. Start your own project and keep shooting. The best thing you can do, more than going to photography school, any kind of training, a lot of my stuff has been learned on the job. I set up these styles of shoots that are not paid.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets paid, but you'll get the images. It's known in the industry as TFP. I am constantly doing two forms of shooting, either TFP or actually being paid by a client. So between the two, between my clients and between my TFP projects, I'm constantly shooting all the time. And that's how I've made many mistakes that have grown me. You know, you make that error, you see where you've gone wrong, and then you've perfected it for the next shoot.
Yeah.
And it's just yeah, and that's how my photography, that's why it keeps on getting better and better, because my photography keeps getting better and better because I keep on making, this can sound like a weird contradiction, I keep on making more and more mistakes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, you've got to make the mistakes to master your craft. And like, yeah, if you're still making mistakes, that means you're still learning new stuff. So surely, even though it's mistakes, it's a good thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. I learn something new every shoot. Through tweaking or playing with machinery. I discover something technically or whatever. Every single shoot, I discover something new. Every single shoot. And also, when I get certain days off or time to myself, I literally set up the studio, a dummy, like a dummy mannequin head, and I practice.
Okay.
I practice. So her name's Shaniqua. It's kind of a name joke. But yeah, I get Shaniqua out from the cupboard, and I get Shaniqua from the cupboard.
Okay, right. Get me Shaniqua from the cupboard.
No, I get Shaniqua out from the cupboard. That sounds very sinister, I know. Very, very, very sinister. I get Shaniqua out from the
cupboard. You're not making it any better the more times you say it. It's like, yeah. It's like, okay. Okay.
I practice and I literally mark down what I've done, and I mark down readings and stuff, and I just get really kind of sort of into that, because I just thought to myself, I actually went to the what do you call it, those black hair and beauty shops, and I bought one.
Yeah.
I thought, look, I can't always find the time to be human because they're busy with their lives. So I thought, I'm going to buy a mannequin head and I'm just going to do my own stuff when I don't get guinea pigs, real life guinea pigs. And stuff like that can help you. I've learned loads. Me and Shaniqua and my camera.
No, singing it doesn't help either. No, I'm gonna move you on from Shaniqua. I like now. Yeah, the images what come to mind just
this
alone.
Interview has taken a turn for the worst. I think a turn for the worst.
Such a doctor. Such a doctor. Wow. Okay, like, yeah. What could you tell us about Tap Tap Tap?
Oh, Tap Tap Tap. So that was the short film I took that got into the festivals.
Mm.
That was really the movie itself or the experience. Well,
Oh,
Tap 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 is one of two movies, and basically I was inspired by something in physics called Schrodinger's cat theory,
yes.
famous Austrian physicist, and I was also inspired by Borges and sort of the alternate realities. I've always loved anything to do with alternate realities, and
Mm.
as you know, they say that there are many different realities, and in each one of them, we have completely different lives based on choices that we've made. But sometimes realities can link up, and this is known as interspersal. So I wanted to kind of mirror that science and try it within film. So I wrote two separate short films,
Mm-hmm.
and they had the same actor and actress in each, and they both had the same names to a degree, but they were leading different lives. And one event, through the principles of that physics, that theory, linked both films.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really weird because what we had to do was I wrote the script. I had to make sure, very difficult to write, not in terms of dialogue, but in making sure the continuity was there, because one thing out of place destroys both projects.
Right.
And also during filming, we had to make sure every single scene was done for the first film, because we never had time to go back, and we had to make sure everything matched. It's like a game of like a puzzle, almost matching piece for piece.
Mm.
So in the first film, my actor had a beard,
Right.
but in the second film, he didn't. So we had to. He was going to shave the beard, but as you know, we couldn't go back in time. If we found an error, his beard had already been shaven. So it was really meticulous.
Yeah.
And, thank God, God bless him. His name was Ed, my assistant director. He was on the ball with that. He was a fantastic guy, and yeah, we got the project done within about, I think, 9 days, quite
Wow.
grueling. And yeah, it was really well. One film did better than the other, predominantly, which was Tap Tap Tap. The other film was called Three Taps. So when you look at both titles, they're actually the same title, but written in a different form. Tap Tap Tap, Three Taps. So that pretty much, the style of that title pretty much kind of embodied how the plot structure worked. And it wasn't one film and its sequel, because both timelines were parallel. So the idea was, if I ever do a full-length feature and they come out in the cinema, the marketing strategy would be to have both films out the same day.
Right.
Because if you don't, it's going to appear to be one film and its sequel, and it's not like that. It's two coexisting parallel timelines.
Right.
So you have to have them at the same time.
Would you have to watch them in a certain order? It doesn't matter.
No, that's the beauty of it. There is no
Okay.
one. Basically, the plan was that you look at the poster and you would choose based on your own preference which one you wanted to see first. It doesn't matter which way around you see them. It doesn't matter. And the third thing that was important was that I had to write each film as its very own individual story within its entirety, because if not, you get a situation where somebody might see one of the films and go, you know what, I don't really fancy watching the other one.
Yeah.
But then they're going to be left wanting, in a sense of, well, there's going to be unanswered questions. So although you need to see both films, they were written in a way that you also don't need to see both films, if that makes sense.
Okay. So they're basically standalone films, but with an interconnected
exactly,
story.
yeah, exactly. Perfect, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are links, but they are also standalone films.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised you're not selling that to Netflix as we speak. But still.
Well, I'm doing the full-length feature. That's what I'm working on. I'm touching up the full. I want this because this has been my project for over 10 years.
Yeah.
I started this idea over 10 years ago, and I've always said I've wanted to do this project. The actual, there's been a lot of improvements since the film. The actual titles are different for the full-length features, and a lot of stuff is different. But this has been, out of all my film projects, the number one project I've wanted to do is those two films. But it has to mirror the science.
Right.
You know, whoever takes it on board, whatever studio, whatever, has to understand the science and has to let it be done and mirror. Otherwise, the whole concept doesn't work.
Hmm.
It doesn't work.
Right.
So
So
yeah, have you ever heard of Schrodinger?
yeah,
The
like
cat in the box theory.
yeah, and you know what? That theory was made very famous by the Big Bang theory, Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like one of the thing, like it was something which was quite obscure, but because of the Big Bang, it went like after the first season, it almost became a sort of pop culture icon in its very own, and it's a scientific theory, which
You know what deals? You know what deals with a lot of the quantum mechanical stuff as well. It wasn't a great film, but the twist was kind of it was linked to it. Interstellar. If you remember with Interstellar,
yeah,
the messages he was hearing through the wall of
yep.
his house when we get to the end of the film, it was him,
Spoiler
and
alert.
that's the sort of principle of quantum mechanical theory and
Yeah.
the sort of alternate stuff and everything.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah. God, what's the name of that film? Sorry. There's a film. It didn't make it to the cinema, but it's an amazing idea. It's about 6 to 8 dinner guests in a house, and basically there's a full moon or some sort of weird moon in the celestial sky or whatever, right? And then what happens over the course of the night, across the road from them is the identical house with a different version of them in that house. It's a really, really cool, clever film. It was a big underground hit. And the only way you could tell the difference was that at night time they carried glow sticks, and one set of groups had red and the other had blue. What's it called? It's a very clever film. You know who's in it? That guy that used to play Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a big underground hit. But yeah,
No, you know
anyway.
what? No, I don't know it. Don't know it. But yeah. Um, let's see. With regards to Interstellar, like Interstellar, yeah, nice film and all. But oh god, why am I blanking on the director's name? Don't like. But with Nolan films, sometimes he kind of misses the mark for me. Like I think it like loved Inception. I love that film to pieces. I like love the Dark Knight, great. But Interstellar, yeah, was a bit meh for me. And same thing with Dunkirk. When you've got like the thing with Dunkirk, which always sort of annoyed me, is it kind of didn't like you're talking about over 300,000 soldiers trying to escape like the Nazis, and yet it looked like there was like about a dozen people just hanging out on the beach. It was, if you get what I mean, it just didn't seem to scale properly.
His problem is Nolan sometimes, because he's so clever in his ideas and conceptions, what he lacks, he focuses so much on that. His films lack a lot of emotional depth. So if you actually look at his films, I found them like I love Inception, I love it, and I love a lot of his films. But if you're talking about powerful drama with real emotional depth, he's not very good at it. He's great at a big budget blockbuster with an amazing idea that's inventive and clever. But when it comes to the actual working with actors and getting that thing out of them, he leans too far on one side. I think. Yeah. They're not very almost they're not very kind of character driven, which sounds kind of odd to say.
Like,
But
yeah, you know what?
yeah.
I would say the only film I would say was really character driven was The Dark Knight, and that was Heath Ledger's Joker, to say the least. Like because that was a epic performance.
And one of his first films called Memento.
You see, I forget about Memento. Like, you know what? Yeah, I forget about that. Like, yeah, no, Memento. That was actually a very no, I agree. It was a very character-driven film. But I find those two. I'm trying to think. Even with Inception, which I did love, yeah, wasn't sort of like I'll go. Yeah, this was my standout character. It was more the sort of action sequences and moments from the film, rather than saying, this was an outstanding performance. Like, you got to watch it. It's like going, yeah, it really captivated you. Yeah.
He had another decent film, but I didn't quite thingy. People forgot about this as well. He had a film called Insomnia, which actually starred Al Pacino, Robin Williams, and Hilary Swank. It's the first time ever, not the first, that's a lie. It's one of the only times, because he did it where Robin Williams was the baddie.
No,
But
this is
see, you forgot about it. A lot of people have Insomnia.
but it was like Al Pacino was in Alaska, and like it was daytime all the time and stuff like that. So he couldn't sleep because it was day.
I think so. Yeah. He was a cop.
Yeah,
he's a cop investigating the case, and Hilary Swank. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I haven't seen that film.
Coherence. Sorry to interrupt you. Just to know, Coherence. I was looking for it. The film is called Coherence.
Okay.
And that is one of the best films with the concept of quantum mechanics.
Mm. Yeah, no, but like this is the thing. Like if if you go with a TV show where you're talking about alternate realities and stuff like this, like a classic now. But yeah, go with Fringe, if you remember that.
I remember that. Had my guy in it from The Wire.
Yep, from The Wire. I had Pacey from Dawson's Creek. That I'll definitely say, if you want to, it builds slow, and then as it chugs along, it really gets into it. Last season, bit weird, but definitely. So,
because my man as well, his name's Lance Reddick. Lance Reddick ended up in the John Wick series, didn't he?
Yes, basically, loving that. And the thing, the whole thing about what I love about John Wick is not that the action scenes, fucking phenomenal, absolutely. The John Wick 1, 2 was it was all right. 3, it was okay, yeah, no, that was just the next level. But the world building for something which was so small budget, you know what I mean, that they took it and went, okay, this is they set in place a world, didn't need to add new people to it. They didn't need to go off the wall. They kept it all contained within one film and went, yeah, but you understood there was a greater world out there where you can go, yeah, what if they stick with the Continental? What if they if there's another random assassin out there, or a bank robber who's in part of that world? It was just right. It was so it can give you so many rich things. And this is the thing. I'm not too sure what they're gonna do after John Wick 4. I think Keanu Reeves is just gonna ride off into the sunset and right back into the Matrix, and then
he's got back into the Matrix. They're doing another Matrix.
And another Bill and Ted.
Did another Matrix. Yeah, God help us. But
yeah.
Here's an odd one. Here's an odd. Actually, I shouldn't say that, but it did surprise me. What's that black actor, British actor called Daniel Koala? Quite big at the moment.
Okay.
Daniel Koala. He's in.
Was it? Oh, good God. Oh, fucking.
He's been in the Black Panther. He's been in the Black Panther.
No, he was in that horror film.
Yeah, Get Out.
Get Out. Yeah.
He's in a new movie. I can't remember the name of it, where he goes out on a date, and then they get stopped and searched, and he ends up having to kill the cop, and then they go on the run, and they become a national phenomena. The posters have been out for the last few weeks now.
Okay.
You must know that film. The front cover is him and the black girl sitting on a car.
No.
You must have seen that poster on the buses.
No, you know what? I haven't seen.
He's doing really well. He was on Graham Norton. Promoting it a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh, gosh. I've got the reason why is an odd random thing that shocked me. Movies. It's called Queen and Slim.
You know what?
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about it, and I mean,
okay. It's a really interesting idea. If they go out on a Tinder date,
right?
Yeah. So I won't bore you with it. It's just the girl in it, she was black British model, blah blah blah. The girl in it, like her husband, is you just mentioned him, Joshua Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why I wouldn't have had it down.
Yeah.
I would have had it down,
Yeah.
and it's not even a color thing. It's just him. I would have had it. I would have had it down. But you when you type him in, you'll see what I mean. But
Yeah.
Queen and Slim, check it
Queen and
out.
Slim. I will. But what I would simply say with regards to sort of movies at this moment in time, yeah, a number of films are being postponed or like moved back to unknown dates because of the current situation of the world we are in today.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. They're talking about a lot of stuff for next year. Fast and
Yeah.
Furious, Bond, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, because don't get me wrong, as I think it was Onwards, Bloodspot, Vin Diesel's new film. Like basically they like there's been another film like they have been not doing well in the box office because like there is one thing people are not going to want to do right now is sit in a rather cramped room, like just having someone mouth breathing on them. Just like, yeah, what do you think of the film? No, it's like
You see what Marvel are doing now? Marvel are doing the old because they never did it before. They're doing the old just changing tactics a bit. They're doing the old Spider-Man Blade link now. They're starting to go like in the comics and the cartoons that we used to watch. They're starting to try that link now. It's already started. Because have you seen the Morbius trailer?
I have seen the Morbius trailer, and like this is the thing I've got to say. It's one of those things. I look at the trailer and go, yeah, that doesn't look too bad, but I'm not too sure what the film is going to be like because I was pleasantly surprised with Venom, but it's a case of, yeah, I'm not too sure.
Venom personally. I thought it was awful, but okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but like this is the thing.
Like Venom at all,
No,
but you know.
well, put it this way, I was thinking Venom was going to be absolutely dog shit because just the way it was like, yeah, oh, that I was like, and I was like, okay, let's see, and I was pleasantly surprised. Now, like this Morbius film, I'm like, okay, let's see what this is going to be like. The trailer looks alright.
The right thing was, it wasn't so much the trailer. It wasn't so much like if it's good or bad. It's just the linkage because obviously Michael Keaton's character from Spider-Man is in the Morbius trailer.
Yes, he is.
He's in the trailer. So obviously they're going back to the old roots of linking Spider-Man and Blade. Because obviously, as you know, two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali is the new Blade.
Yes, he is.
So what they're going to do is, my prediction is, they're going to go back to the original sort of cartoon comic stories you used to watch, which is obviously Blade is a spin-off of Spider-Man, and the character that linked them was that they were both kind of always after Morbius. So I think they're going to go that route.
Yeah, like this is the thing. I would say when Blade comes out, and like this is the thing, in my opinion, like the original Blade movies with Wesley Snipes, that was kind of the thing which sort of went
the best.
You know, look, that was the thing when you can make money off of comic book movies, because after that, like Spider-Man came out in quick succession. It was Sony, X-Men with Fox, and then like Marvel Studios, you know what I mean, didn't really do anything. Then, oh God, there was that god-awful Ang Lee Hulk. Let's just say, never watch that shit again. That's time you'll never get back. Then, like, it was a case of, I would say that was the thing, what was like the really sort of like Marvel knew they could make money with those films. Like, you can make a Marvel movie because you could do a Superman movie before and you could do a Batman movie, but the technology wasn't there before like Blade, and that was the sort of turning point, right? And you know what I mean? They need to give Blade a little bit more props, a little bit more sort of seniority.
He needs a lot of respect. I think what Hollywood's done to Wesley Snipes is a disgrace. And people have to remember, they know they have to know that Wesley Snipes' Blade kick-started Marvel. Marvel were going under, they were in receivership. Wesley Snipes' Blade kick-started the whole comic expansion of Marvel. And the third film aside, which I don't want to mention, right? People have to respect, and even Stan Lee before he died, when they talked about the big rise in Marvel over the last 20 years, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, even Stan Lee always blatantly said Wesley Snipes' performance as Blade is one of his favourite actors playing one of his characters. But Stan Lee's from the Stan Lee's now. He's always respected and rated Wesley Snipes' performance as Blade. And that started the whole thing rolling. So people forget Wesley, but they have to remember, if it wasn't for him, there'd be none of the shit we've seen over 20 years. Standard.
No, put it this way. There was they were going to, I think at the time, they had a choice between doing Black Panther or doing like Blade. And they were going to set Black Panther as him like fighting against the Klan in America and like white supremacists. And like, this is the thing, none of like, no connection to African Asgard or like future like technology Xanadu type thing. Like I'm glad they went the Blade route, because I'd have been like, no, you like, it's like you needed more money to do that. And like, yeah. So I'm glad they did what they did, and it's going through and basically set history the way it was. Because when myself, you, and Tony watched it in Camden, like, put it this way, the fights between Blade and Luke Goss, oh my Lord, it was like just sitting there like, fuck, damn, when Luke Goss jumps out of the screen and comes down with a heavy elbow. It was like, I felt that. I really did. It was like, yeah, there was no...
People forget as well. That was a great Blade 2. And people forget the director of that film, who of course was Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Now one of the big film directors in Hollywood. He helped with the new Lord of the Rings, and he's been Oscar nominated loads of times. But people forget that Guillermo del Toro directed Blade 2.
Yeah,
great film. It's a great film.
This is the thing. I can't remember if Pan's Labyrinth became before Blade or after. But
after. It was after.
Yeah, but it was a case of that was all his setup and led him to doing the Hellboy films and everything like this. Like Del Toro, I like him and all, but there's times where it's a case of he kind of drifts in and out of the Hollywood like machine. He sometimes doesn't sort of like play. It's not playing ball. I think he sometimes loses focus at times, because he like.
I mean, he's weird. He's a weird one. Like, yeah, he's a weird one. Like, obviously, he co-wrote and was involved in the last Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was heavily involved. Incidentally, him and Pete Jackson look very similar. They're both huge and have beards. I don't know what that's about, but he was very much involved in Lord of the Rings. But he's had some odd, funny ones. Like, I didn't really like the Hellboys. He did Hellboy, but yeah, he's things like Pan's Labyrinth. That's an amazing film. Still an amazing film, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I've got to skedaddle.
Oh, really? Okay. No worries.
Yes. Work beckons.
Well.
Photography to edit.
No worries. No worries at all. Like, yes.
Administrative duties.
No problem. Like, yes.
It's been great. It's been great.
Well, like, this is a thing. Let me say thank you for coming on the podcast. Like, yeah, we've been at it for,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for a good hour and almost 40 minutes. So, yeah. What I'd like to say is, yeah.
I warned you about getting me on this thing. I told you once I'm here, you won't be able to shut me up.
Well, hey, look, am I the one who's ending this? It's not me, it's you, my friend. I was quite happy to talk on and carry on, but you know what I mean? Time is pressing. I understand. That's not a problem. What I'd simply say to you is I let the people know where they can actually find like your stuff, your material, because I wanted to go into tap and a bit more, but nevertheless, tell people where they can find your stuff. What social medias are you on?
Out there in the cosmos.
Absolutely.
No, that's a good question. Like, I obviously have a website. I can give you guys the link to that. That's got a lot of my photographic work.
Yep.
that leads you to other bits of work that I do at the moment. I'm on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I am d.p_photography78. That's d.p_photography78. You'll find a huge body of my work there and links. My website links there as well. And yeah, I am. Once you get there, it will open up your world to everything that I tend to get my hand involved in. So yeah, that's the
Excellent.
gist of it, really. But no, it's been a real pleasure. It's been a real pleasure.
No,
And
yeah.
Go out there, travel, people, see the world.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, what I'll simply say is thank you, Dean. The links will be in the description, so please feel free to click the links to Dean's like social media and webpage. Show him some love, and yeah, I'd like to say thank you, Dean, for being on the show. I'd like to say thank you to all my friends and life warriors out there who have taken time to listen to the podcast. Have a fantastic day. Be awesome. Be excellent. Be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be. And I'll see you soon. Peace.
Take care, bud.
Yep. Let me just.
Adios.